I hope you have completed your sleep, so please come and shift to the middle part. Okay, so last time we had when you want to close the doors. So what discussed, what were we discussing in the last part? Yes, please. Yes. Can you briefly elaborate all the uterine changes which we had discussed in the last class? That's your problem. What are your roll number? Roll number? 68. Next class, you want to answer the question if you happen to be present. Okay. This side, the last person, please. Can you briefly elaborate? Just quickly recapitulate. What did we discuss? What uterine changes did we discuss in the last class? थोड़ा तेज बोलो और clear बोलो. Okay. So, what under which hormonal influence does the proliferative phase takes place? Okay. What is the speciality of progesterone? I also discussed about the progesterone after that. Okay, what else? Next one. एक ही फंक्शन है पूरे प्रोजेस्टेरोन का, ऊपर वाले ने एक ही फंक्शन लेके भेजा है इस हार्मोन को. चलो नेक्स्ट प्लीज दिस साइड. यस उठ जाइए. आप ही से बोल रही हूँ, आप उठ जाइए. द पर्सन सिटिंग बिहाइंड यू. यस. What are the other functions of progesterone?
There's a negative effect on luteinizing hormone and that effect. Like with estrogen.
Negative effect on? What do you mean by negative effect?
It eases the secretion of LH and FSH.
It inhibits the secretion of LH and FSH. Is it? Is it something like that? Did I say something like that in my previous class? Did I say that progesterone not only are your books and your coaching tutorial videos telling you that progesterone have got a negative effect on estrogen? LH or FSH. Not only negative, but more context we want.
Along with
Is it nullifying the effect of estrogen?
reducing the secretion of LH.
LH and FSH, how? How? Next person, please.
So if it forms anybody at the local part of the breast,
Okay.
and what is the changes in the uterus and the
Okay. What are the other effects here? Yes, please. Yes. इसमें क्या होता है? What is the okay? What other consistent activity? What are the other? I'm not asking you. बढ़ाने का काम है पर इस काम का no please talk in a scientific language. Maintain करता है means what? It's very well defined. Is it proliferating or is it helping in the secretory part? Secretory part should be confined to what you are saying. Maintaining बोलोगे तो एक में आधे में कर सकते हो. Okay. So then what else? What are the other important effects? Yes, please. That has been discussed. Secretary goals. That is also discussed.
If there is a pregnancy, so then it will be secreted by the corpuscle for 2 to 3 months, and otherwise, in the function to take over by the placenta.
Okay. What else? What is the other effect of yes, please?
Ma'am, until 16th day or after ovulation, placenta won't be developed. So it generally tries to accumulate more and more
I think we
nutrients.
have discussed that point just now. It's just told that it is helpful till the 2 to 3 months of the pregnancy. That is maintained by the body.
It prevents the actions of prostaglandins, thereby muscle contractions are also prevented.
Oh, you want to say that? Any other thing? Any other thing? Yes, please.
जो survival उसकी consistency thick और
Very good. That is very helpful. Sit down. Any other function? Yes, please.
and photosynthesis.
Toxicity of the land. Okay. What else? Anything else you would like to say? What about this effect on the temperature of the body? It is a thermogenic hormone. It increases it, increase. Okay. So now, so good to see that some of you are studying, but can't help others who are not interested in studying or may study with the help of your marrow. So now let us move ahead with the next part of the thing, that is the fertilization. So when we are talking about the fertilization, so this is the, I hope the diagram is visible. This is from your guided. Okay. Now, if you see, we have discussed the parts with the where the sperm was entering. We have already discussed about most of the reactions when we were discussing individual systems. So, as you can see in this diagram, this very first diagram is the one which showing the ovulated, the ova which has been expelled after the ovulation. So, this is this corona radiata. These are the fine cells, the layer of cells which are attached, because ova as such is not ovulated without any attachment. It is still surrounded by an adjoining layer of cell which is the corona radiata. And then you can see in the second diagram, the part that is part B of the diagram, it is showing that number of sperms are coming, as we have already discussed that numerous sperms come and they reach the ova, but out of that only one is able to cause the fertilization, and the rest they are just disaggregated. We have discussed that. What was the reaction which we have discussed? Acrosomal reaction, and what prevents the entry of the further other sperms? Yes. Okay, so this we have already discussed in detail. So according to the same reaction, acrosomal reactions and all, we have there only one will take the entry, and as you can see, only one sperm going inside, and the rest disintegrate. So, so what is now part B of this diagram? If you see, the next part goes in the formation of a pronucleus, both for the male and the female, and thereafter, in the E part of the diagram, we will just see that now the next stage goes on to the stage of further division. Okay, the X and the Y, or the X or the S chromosome, they have now come and paired up, which you are aware, and we started in the very initial classes that how the sex of the fetus would be decided. So this is the first initial step where now the competition has taken place and the fertilization has taken place. Okay, before I move. Okay. So when the fertilization has taken place, so if you can see again, this diagram is from your textbook of guidance, and if you see over here, so this is again stating the same thing, that after ovulation, that is entering into the fallopian tube, and the fertilization is happening at the level of the fallopian tube itself, and you can see it is mentioned as day 1 of the fertilization, that is the starting. Now thereafter we see this fertilized ovum, this is now forming, this is now going up, it is just moving ahead, and that movement is actually held by the secretions within the fallopian tube, the movement of the mucus inside, as well as there is the presence of ciliated epithelium, which is helping in the movement of this zygote now above, and from here, from this end, finally to its place where it will finally get implanted. Okay? Now, initially, if you see that this part, that is the isthmus part of this fallopian tube, that remains a little constricted, and it takes some time for it to relax. So, and this relaxation occurs again under the influence of the progesterone, which is being released from the corpus luteum, right? So this is another effect of the progesterone, which is helping in the relaxation of the isthmus, and because of this, the zygote can move further ahead. So this takes some time, so maybe 1 to 2 days that is lost from here, and it takes the time from here to reach to this place, and simultaneously if you see, now the cells there is a division of the cells also occurring inside, and you can see from here, here now there are 2 cells, then becoming 4 and 8 and so on like this. So finally till the time it reaches actually the uterine uterus and going to the place of implantation, this cavity takes around some total about some 5 to 7 days in total. So 5 to 7 days will be implanting. So this reaching to is around some 4 to 5 days. So, and by the time it implants, implantation is actually going and just attaching to the endometrial wall. So that is happening at the 5th to 7th day from the day of the fertilization. So you will see once it reaches this stage, that is the implantation stage, that is the stage is known as the blastocyst, and it is around some 100 cell stage. Okay. Now what is happening? Now this implantation is an important process, and it decides the fate, the fate of this what you call the growing fetus later on. So implantation is important for the further growth of the fetus. Otherwise, if not implanted, then definitely it will just go wasted. So now the process of implantation of this part, you can see over here, it is shown that this blastocyst is going and getting attached to the endometrial wall. Now this attachment is not that just going and getting attached as such, but it needs certain steps are there. So what are those certain steps? The first step is that of the attachment over here, as you can see. And after attachment, not only it will remain attached, it will try to go and penetrate inside a little bit into that wall. Okay? Now, so these steps are, so first the moment it is going and getting attached to the endometrial wall, the vascularity of the part into which it is going to attach, that increases. The permeability of the vessels increases, and of course there are new vessels also forming. So it is allowing or helping in the receiving of this blastocyst. Once attached, it now has to penetrate. It has to actually lyse the cells around. So which are the cells? That is the endometrial cells around. So you can see over here, it is just trying to, the proteolytic enzymes, these are being released by these trophoblastic cells, and so which are trying to invade, and they will just lyse the cells of the endometrium wall and will try to enter deeper inside. So once it goes deeper and gets firmly attached, now goes the stage of that is the stage of the implantation. So it involves two steps: attachment followed by invasion. Is that clear? So this is the stage, and you can see the moment it is getting attached, sometimes in some females they have that is presented as bleeding. A little bit bleeding is there, which is known as by the name of implantation bleeding as well, but not in all pregnant women face this implantation bleeding. Some of the implantations, some of the patients, they do have implantation. Okay. Now during this phase, if you see the trophoblast is going and getting attached over there, so the adjoining cells, that is the decidual cells of the endometria, they are going to provide, they are going to receive, and they are going to actually provide nutrition to these cells for some time. And before it is attached, the secretions of the uterine wall, which is also known as the uterine milk, that is providing the secretion, the nutrition to the placenta before implantation. Once implanted, the adjoining residual cells, they are going to provide the nutrition to the placenta. Okay, so now once the step of implantation is over, so you can see just further see. So this is the one where it is now going, and this is finally getting attached, as well as now it is invaded. This trophoblast, it can be further divided into two types of the trophoblast, that are the syncytial trophoblast and the cytotrophoblast. Syncytial trophoblast, you can see in this diagram, this is multinucleated structure. Okay, if you just see the number of dots showing the types of the nuclei, and which is shown by this purple thing, and the cytotrophoblast, these are distinct individual cells having single nuclei. These are the cytotrophoblast, these ones. And this purple one, this is showing multinucleated, more of a gel-like substance, one single mass which is entering inside. And they are releasing those proteolytic enzymes which I was talking about. So the trophoblast getting divided into two parts, syncytial and the cytotrophoblast. And you have definitely the adjoining residual cells which are going to provide the nutrition, as I was talking about. And finally, this step of the implantation is complete. Now, when we are talking about the nutrition, how does the nutrition is provided to this growing fetus? You just can see the initial part is trophoblastic nutrition, the nutrition which is provided by the decidual part, the decidual uterus, okay? And later on, the diffusion is happening through the placenta. Till the time of implantation, there is no development of placenta yet has taken place. It has yet not started. It has just gone attached to that endometrial wall and just penetrated. So now only the neighboring cells are there which is going to provide the nutrition. And the progesterone level is being maintained by the corpus luteum, which I had already talked about. Okay, so that is important because the placenta has yet not developed, it has yet not started. So it's going to start and take over. So it needs a time of about 2 to 3 months, as I already told you. So corpus luteum is required to release the progesterone, which maintains the further pregnancy. In case if the corpus luteum function is affected and it is not producing the required amount of the hormone progesterone, then there are chances that the further development of the fetus would be affected and the female that can lead to the abortion as well. But important thing is that there are therefore if you have seen anybody in your family, sometimes supplementary doses of the progesterone is given during that time in case the hormonal levels of the progesterone is lower than those. Just to support, give them additional support by the time placenta is fully formed and takes over the function of the formation of progesterone. Is that clear? So this is quite important. Now the question arises, now fetus, it is again a foreign body for the female. How does this not reject the fetus? Whereas if there is a graft transplantation done, the body tries to reject it. Yes? That is the placental barrier. What does placenta have in itself which is preventing it further to reject the fetus? Yes, please? Placental barrier is okay, but placenta में क्या है जिसको जो barrier करता है, providing that? Yes? Blood contact में नहीं आते ऐसा? अच्छा. Okay, what else? We discussed about that also. What else is the reason?
Right.
Yes?
Right.
Tight junctions, is it? Okay. What else? Any other thing you might think of? Yes, please.
Fetal cells never enter the maternal circulation. Rather, antigen को presenting नहीं हो पाते.
अच्छा, fetal cells does not.
Fetal cells कभी maternal circulation में नहीं आएंगे. वो antigen की तरह present नहीं होंगे और IgM bodies बनेंगी और IgM primary antibodies होती हैं. तो और वो cross नहीं कर सकते.
Okay, right. So you are trying to match up with this RH compatibility condition. Let us go on to this. So actually there is no expression of MHC class 1 or 2 proteins on this placenta at all. Okay, you all have been taught about the major histocompatibility complex and the genes. Okay, so there is no expression of these two over there onto the placenta. So as a result, if there is no expression, there is no chance of formation of. Don't take photograph. I've just taken these lines from your genome. Okay. What is I teach? I try to stick to your textbooks so that you go back and can refer back the same. Okay? Just try to understand these are not at all expressed here, so there is no question of formation of the chances of rejection. Okay? What is expressed in turn is the HLA-G and the HLA-C. So that is not going to cause any antibodies against the fetus and hence it is not rejecting the fetus as it does in any other gland. Okay? Now further what is there is expression of a fast ligand. Fast, I hope you have studied in your when blood was being taught F small f fast ligand. When you're talking, have you been taught about it? You must have read about it. These are actually the ligands which are expressed onto the cell surfaces, and over here it will be expressed onto the placenta. The cytotoxic T cells, they are going to act against it and just destroy it. Okay? So this is another mechanism in case if any of the T cells happen to try to go and act against it, so these fast ligands are just going to dissolve it. Okay? So these are expressed, they are expressed against the cytotoxic T cells as well as the natural killer. Okay? So these are present. So therefore there were two mechanisms which would prevent any kind of rejection of the fetus and any further reactions as you have studied in your blood in the system when blood was taught. Now let us move on to, we have now discussed the blastocysts have gone and got implanted. Now further step is that the placenta has to develop so as to support the further development and the progression of the fetus. So now this figure shows the fetus inside and if you can see through it, this is the placenta and the cord, which is actually attaching and joining the fetus with the mother. And you can see now again this diagram is from your guided, and this is showing the placental, the total formation of the arrangement of the vessels around in this placenta. So you can see this part is the maternal part, maternal end. Maternal end means, and this is the maternal end, and this is the fetal end. You understand it? You could get it? The one which is joining towards the fetus is the fetal end I am talking about, and the one which is facing towards the uterine wall, the endometrial wall, that is the maternal end I am talking about. So if you see over here, so again you have this arrangement of the blood vessels through which, as you are aware, that any of the divisions or is going to take place. Now if I talk about the fetal end, so you can see that the cord, this comprises of the umbilical veins and the arteries. So if you see over here, this umbilical vein which is shown with the red, the single umbilical vein with two umbilical arteries which is shown by the blue one, and I hope you know that the deoxygenated blood is brought through the umbilical artery, and the oxygenated one is carried back from the placenta towards the fetus through the umbilical vein. Okay. So, and this is the maternal end, and you can see over here, these are the maternal vessels they have shown, these ones, which is towards the body. Now you see the maternal vessels and the maternal, the red one showing the oxygenated blood. This is coming and finally forming certain sinusoids are formed over here, and these floral patterns, if you can see, which is formed by these umbilical vessels over here, these are the villi. I don't know whether you've been taught in your embryology about this. Yes, you've been taught, so you have again a better knowledge about it. So you can see the sinusoids are over here, and if you see carefully, so these maternal vessels, there is outlet, which is finally drilling into this sinusoid, and the fetal ones, and this is the space for where the diffusion can take place, and it will be, and the fetal vessels can either take in or release the different substances through this diffusion across the fetal vessels and the umbilical vessels and the villi. Okay? Is that clear? Yes or no? Because you've been already taught in your embryology, so I expect more of the anatomical detailed knowledge from you. Am I clear with this? Yes? So now, okay, this is the section which is shown with the fetal capillaries and the villus space. Now, what is happening if I just say the diffusion of the gases are taking place across this membrane. So, if I say which all gases are required by the fetus? Which gases? Oxygen primarily. Then it has to give out what? Carbon dioxide. What else is needed to be exchanged? Waste products. What else? Nutrients. Okay, so all is happening through this placenta only. Now, if I have to talk about the intake of oxygen by the fetus from the maternal blood, how is this possible? How is this generally possible? The law of diffusion states what? The movement will always occur from its region of high concentration to, so there has to be a gradient. The concentration gradient has to be there. So if you see the partial pressures of oxygen in the maternal blood and that with that of this fetal blood, so there is definitely a difference. And the difference is that the maternal PO2, maternal blood PO2 at the level of the placenta is around 50 ml. Okay? Whereas the fetal blood, is around that 30, PO2 levels is at 30 ml. So there is a difference of 20 mmHg, always, the gradient of 20 mmHg is always present. So you can think of the fetus is always in a state of hypoxia. Can you understand that? Yes or no? Being adults, we have a good amount of PO2 levels, isn't it? But the fetus you can think of, it is surviving at a level of this PO2 level of 30 mm of Hg. Is that clear? So now when it is doing that, how is it able to do its process further? What is the importance? How is it able to do? What is the relevance? What is the relevance of the fetal hemoglobin? You have been taught in your blood. HbF is what? It has got a... Yes, the question you are being asked whenever you get that hemoglobin estimation in your practical examination. How is adult hemoglobin different from fetal hemoglobin? Okay, so the first is the chain difference, importantly, which is helping in the better binding of the oxygen from the maternal blood. It is a better affinity. Yes, you can correlate now. So now you see at P42 levels 30 mm of Hg, still it is able to bind more of the oxygen and survive there. Okay, it is attributed to the type of the hemoglobin, that is the fetal hemoglobin which is present in the fetus. Is that clear? Had it been adult hemoglobin, nahi ho sakta tha. Is that clear? Is that clear? Next thing, what about the hemoglobin levels in the fetus? Is it same as adults? No. Higher or lower? Higher. You have been taught about those stats. बताइए क्या figures कि fetus में इतना होता है, newborn में इतना होता है, child born होता है, you all have been given those tables. Isn't it? So why? So again, higher hemoglobin is again going to favor more oxygen carry. Is that clear? Fine? So this is an important thing. Now, the third important thing is that you have been taught about Bode's effect. What is the Bode's effect? What is the Bode's effect? बताओ नहीं तो कैसे भी पढ़ते आ रहे हो? One at a time, who's going to answer? कौन बताएगा exactly Bode's effect? कौन? Because these systems you have been already taught about, so and you've prepared for your examination also, so I hope that you know Bode's effect. नहीं पता? Next person. Pass the question, please. Will you be please loud? क्या होता है PO2 में, क्या होता है बताओ? कैसे? हीमोग्लोबिन से तो बाइंड हो गए और what else? नहीं पता कैसे बाइंड होता है, नहीं पता. बैठ जाओ. नेक्स्ट. और आपके से जो बगल वाला है अगर उसे सो रहा है तो उसे उठा दीजिए. आप जरा आगे यहाँ पे आ जाइए. कम. जल्दी आओ बेटा. इनको जगह दो निकालने के लिए. आगे आ जाओ. नेक्स्ट पर्सन. मतलब ना तो तुम लोग ये सिस्टम पढ़ रहे हो ना पुराना सिस्टम पढ़ रहे हो. क्या पढ़ रहे हो? कुछ नहीं पढ़ रहे. लोअर पीएच क्या करेगा? नेक्स्ट. क्या होगा बताओ? फिर क्या होगा? बढ़ जाता है तो फिर नहीं, धीरे धीरे बोलो. लोअर पीएच हुआ फिर क्या हुआ? बढ़ गया फिर ओके. चलो आप लोग भी बैठे. Your orders are prepared? वो भी नहीं तैयार है. रोही यस मुझे अच्छे से सुनाई पड़ा. So anyways, let us come to the topic. So we are talking about the Bode's effect. Now Bode's effect, you have studied what is happening, that is, it is taking place at the level of the lung and how, what is the main purpose is, that it is going to cause the exchange. It is needed for the exchange of the oxygen and of course with the carbon dioxide. Now, when the carbon dioxide levels are higher, so what is going to happen is that it will favor the hemoglobin, the binding of oxygen with the hemoglobin is much favored in the presence of more of the carbon dioxide. Okay, so that helps in the easy transportation or the exchange at the level of the lungs. Now let us understand this, how this same force effect is applicable at the level of this placenta when we are talking about. I've just told you about, I've just shown you this, okay, fine, this effect where the exchange or the diffusion is taking place at the level of the sinusoids. Okay. Now, if you see the fetus, then the umbilical vessels, the umbilical arteries which are carrying the deoxygenated blood from the fetus to that near the sinusoids, and the maternal blood in turn has, at that particular point of time, has a higher level of the this oxygen in sinusoids. Now, due to the presence of this higher carbon dioxide in this PCO2 level higher in the deoxygenated blood, it is going to favor the dissociation and more of the exchange of this carbon dioxide would be lost to the maternal blood, and the binding of the oxygen with the hemoglobin, the fetal hemoglobin, would be enhanced. Okay, so this is happening and hence that is carried back again, and this is helping in the exchange. So this is the Bose effect which is happening at the level of the fetal vessels. Now what is happening at the level of the maternal blood? Now maternal blood, which was initially carrying more of the oxygen and lesser amount of the carbon dioxide, after this exchange is taking place, is now getting enriched with more of the carbon dioxide from the fetal blood, fetal exchange, okay, and now it is losing more of the oxygen to the fetal blood, okay, and this is causing now the maternal blood after the exchange becomes has more of the PCO2 levels as in comparison to the pure. So there are two kinds of Bose effects happening over here. One favoring the exchange of oxygen from the maternal blood to the fetal blood, and the other one favoring the exchange of carbon dioxide from the fetal blood to the maternal blood. So if you see in the graph, you have two graphs shown in one just projected. This one. So if you see in the same graph where this graph has been taught to you in your respiratory classes. So you have the PO2 levels and the oxygen saturation over here. So if you can see, so this blue line shows, the blue graph shows the maternal blood changes, and this one showing the red one showing the fetal blood changes. So if you see the fetal, the graph for the fetus, that has shifted more towards the left side, and the graph of the maternal blood, this one has shifted more towards the right side. So there's right and left. So all of you have been taught about the right shift and the left shift. Left shift favors what? More binding. And right shift favors what? Dissociation. So it is happening, a double Bohr effect is happening at this particular place. Okay? Are you able to understand? Double Bohr effect, one happening towards the fetal, favoring the binding of the oxygen to the fetal blood, and the other one is release of more of the dissociation of more of the oxygen from the maternal blood. Is that clear? So a right shift and a left shift happening simultaneously, which favors the uptake of the oxygen of the blood, and hence again at peak PO2 levels of 30 mm of Hg, fetus is able to do fine. Is that clear? So fetus is always at the stage of hypoxia. Remember that. So you often get this double Bohr's effect in this as a short notes. Okay? So remember that. Now, thereafter we have the placental hormones. Now we have talked about the mechanism of exchange. This we have already discussed for the carbon dioxide and the oxygen. Okay, we have also discussed that the waste products will be also exchanged by the same process of diffusion. Again, a gradient has to be there. So definitely the fetal blood is have more waste products. So that is again due to the difference in the gradient, there will be exchange through the diffusion, and the nutrients again from the maternal blood will be exchanged to the fetus on the basis of the diffusion, on the basis of the gradient created, and hence by the process of diffusion. Okay. Now, if you see, what are the hormones which are released by the placenta and which favors the entire progression of this fetus under its development. So I have placed the 4 major hormones which are important and we'll be discussing, focusing mainly. Otherwise, if you see, you have again a list of the hormones and the peptides which are being released from the placenta. So again, this list is available in your books. You have an entire list. We'll be discussing only the major parts with just giving you a glance at the rest ones. Let's first discuss about the major hormones, that is the estrogen, progesterone, and the human chorionic gonadotropin, that is the HCG, and the human chorionic somatotropin, that is the CS. So let us understand about the estrogen first. So for that, again, you have to understand that the estrogen which is produced at the level of the placenta. Now, placental, this anatomy you would have studied. Can you go ahead and watch it? So, what is happening at the level of the placenta? The fetus and the placenta and the mother. Okay, 3 things are there. That is the maternal blood, the placenta, and the fetus. He will say that man is continuously up. But please go, and I have been able to see you from that end. You are not interested in this. You are not the person. Okay. So now we are talking about 3 things: the maternal blood, the placenta, and the fetal blood. So when we consider this is actually a unit. It is considered, it is actually feto-placental unit. This is and this is the schematic representation, again a flowchart diagram of the stages which is happening or occurring and is leading to the development of the hormones inside this feto-placental unit. This is acting together, hence a unit has been named. Okay. So now if you see carefully, how this starts is that if you see that the formation of the estrogens, now this DHES is the dehydroepiandrosterone dione sulfate, which is released by the fetal adrenal glands. Okay. Again, to say this, these steps are available in your book. Okay, this flowchart is not from your book, but these steps are definitely available in your book. You can go through them. If you want to copy them down, you can copy them. If you want to take a click, you can take it. I don't mind. Okay. So now what is there is that is DHES, which is being formed from the fetal adrenal gland, that is moving from the fetal blood to the placenta. Now once it enters into the placenta, there is the enzyme sulfatase, which is going to take out the sulfate component from it, and only the DHA will be left back. And within the placenta, then it will be converted into the androstenedione, and from androstenedione further, it will be the aromatase enzyme that, under that influence of the aromatase, it will be converted into these different forms of the estrogen, that is the estrone, estradiol, and estriol. Okay. Now estriol is that is the E3. That is the estrogen which is found more in the fetal blood. It is not found much in the maternal blood, but it also goes. The estrone and the estradiol is mainly going to the maternal blood this side, and as if you remember in the last class I have already discussed, that is the estradiol, which is mainly the more active component for the adulthood. Okay, so you can see, so this formation of the estrogens is taking place. Estriol is going back towards the fetal end. Is that clear? Is that okay? So what does this estrogen is going to do now? It is actually going to maintain the vascularity, increasing the vascularity of the uterus. It also, in fact, it may increase the uterine contractions also, but you see that progesterone is keeping it at a check. Okay, so uterine contractility is mainly required at the end part where childbirth has to take place, the fetus has to the fertilization process has to take place. So there it is mainly checked over by the progesterone. But still I'm telling you that the estrogen has the action or the function of the estrogen is to increase the vascularity, produce new vessels, blood vessels, and also to increase maintain the uterine contractility, which is required more at the later end of the gestation period. Okay, is that clear? So you will see that estrogen is formed from the DHAs or from the fetal adrenal gland. Okay. Okay, so some of the DHAs will be also released from this, coming from this maternal side, it's also from the maternal adrenal glands, secreted from the maternal adrenal glands, and the same thing will take place and lead to the formation of the estrogen. So, now this flowchart is with the schematic diagrams from your genome, and if you see, this part I have discussed in detail. This formation of DHAs to estradiol and estriol, this is the one which I was discussing in the last slide. Okay, because that was not present in your books and your genome handwriting. And now about the progesterone, you see mostly at the level of placenta, the cholesterol, the main synthesis, and the precursor being the cholesterol, and from cholesterol, if you remember the steps of the formation of testosterone and the progesterone, those remain same over here also, and some part of the pregnant when it goes inside the fetal blood, and again it is helpful in the formation of DHEAs from the fetal adrenal gland, which I was just talking about. And this may lead to the formation of DHEAs, which we are discussing, and the further steps. Of course, from progesterone, the cortisol and the corticosterone are being formed, which is going to the fetus. Okay, is that clear? So you can see that this is quite dependent. The steroid formation, it is acting between this taking place between the fetus and the placenta, and hence it is said to be a fetal-placental union. Again, I would emphasize over here, you get a short notes on fetal-placental union. Is that clear? So the topic in itself is important. So, was that clear? The estrogens and the progesterone formation at the level of the fetal and the placental end? Yes? Yes or no? This side? Okay. So, progesterone, as I told you, it is helpful in maintaining, it prevents the further contraction, and it is, now if you see, we started with that progesterone was initially being released from maintained by the corpus luteum for 2 to 3 months initially. Now it is being taken over by the placenta. Can you see that? So the placenta, by this process, is now participating in both formation of estrogen as well as the progesterone, and now thereafter, after this initial 2 to 3 months, the corpus luteum can now take rest. Is that clear? So here, now the placenta has taken over the functions and has started releasing its the hormones, both the hormones now. Am I clear with this? Now we move on to the next hormone, which is being released by the placenta, and that is the HCG, particularly the beta unit of the HCG. So what you see over here, again it is being released by the trophoblast, and it is again one of the earliest hormones which can be detected into the female, from the female urine. And as mentioned in the fact that is around from 8 to 9 days after the ovulation, mainly after the implantation has occurred. So this is being released by the trophoblast, and it is one of the earliest detected hormones. And this hormone, that is the HCG, that is helpful for maintaining, or this is helpful for the maternal recognition of pregnancy. So the fetal body now gets to know that yes, she is carrying the fetus. Okay. Now, important, it maintains the corpus luteum. This is another function, because corpus luteum has to be maintained for the initial 2 to 3 months. So it's an important hormone, helping in maintaining its function. And definitely, because it is maintaining, and so it promotes also the estrogen and the progesterone secretion from the corpus luteum. Further, if you see, it stimulates the testosterone production as well by the testing of a male fetus. And if you remember again, if you have already discussed that this testosterone is helpful in the descent of the testis from its point of origin to its actual place. Okay, so this hormone is quite important, is playing an important role in the initial half, and this is the hormone, as I told you, it is detected, one of the earliest detected hormone in, and that mostly the card test, which commonly people can take over. This is available over the counter, and the person can test, the female can test whether she is pregnant or not, because this is the hormone which is, as I told you, detected earliest. But again, to say there are other things also in case of certain tumors that the beta HCG level might be high. So later on when you study the pathological aspects, you will study that the HCG levels may get high in number of conditions apart from pregnancy. But the most common one is that the person has to test for the pregnancy. This is one of the earliest detected hormones. Then you have the next hormone being released by the placenta is the HCS or the HPL, what you say, that is the human placental lactogen, also known as earlier. The previous name was also the human chorionic somatomammotrophon. And this hormone is actually lactogenic, and it is promoting, therefore, it is preparing the female for the further lactation processes, and hence it is promoting the development of the mammary glands in the female during the process of this pregnancy, throughout the pregnancy. And it is important that it is maintaining the maternal glucose levels. Basically, it reduces the insulin sensitivity, and it reduces the uptake of glucose, a little bit reduced, there is a reduction in the uptake of the glucose, so that more glucose remains available in the maternal blood for the fetus to take uptake, while there is a diffusion taking place at the level of placenta. So this is helping in that. And of course, it also regulates the protein and the fat levels also, so that these are also always available to the fetus. I've already discussed these. And if you see this again is this graph from your guidance, where it is just telling the different hormones at different stages of the gestation. If you see over here, the initial part, but as I told you, the HCG being quite the earliest hormone to be detected. So this has started from this. The weeks of the pregnancy has been mentioned, and the levels of the HCG, here the progesterone as well as the estrogen, they're all being plotted over here. So you can see this red graph, this is showing the HCG levels, and you can see the initial half that has just gone peaked up and well detected, and it is in fact maintained also throughout the pregnancy, but of course not at the same level as that of the initial half. The estrogen and progesterones, they slowly take over, and as we have already discussed, placenta takes over. Initial half is always to the progesterone is by the corpus luteum. Later on, the placenta takes over, and then it maintains it throughout the pregnancy. So these are the different hormonal levels. Just in brief about the other hormones which we are talking about, although I may repeat in the next class also, but I have mostly discussed the 4 major hormones which are important for you to know. The other hormones which are also released out of this, like relaxin, although not much is reported, but it is said that it is helping in causing the relaxation of the ligaments and the muscles. Yes, please, any problem with? Okay. So, as a result, so this is going to help in the further process of the childbirth. Okay. So, rest maybe I will take in the next class, and that will be supposed to be my last class of this system. And then on Thursday, you will have an integrated lecture from the Department of Obstetrics, and we'll take over and then start over the system of hormone system. Okay. Can you please go ahead with the attendance?